Everyone. Well, welcome back. We're now in week 9. So I hope you're still doing well in our social linguistics course. And this week we're looking at a fascinating topic called social media and social linguistics. Right. So it's week 9 again. Let's see what we have in store this week. So first of all, we look at what is social media. Of course, there are lots of definitions. We do not need to look at it one by one because I'm sure all of you are very well versed in what this actually mean. So we're just going very quickly. So with websites, applications that enable users to create and share content, or to participate in social networking. That's one definition. Other than that, we also have Gitterman and Pingree talking about media in transition, right? So it's a period of time where medium is emergent, and then there's such a contrasting and competing with the old media. So that's also interesting what social media actually means. Well, Manovich, of course, describes it as using digital computer technology for distribution and exhibition. Yeah, so it's computer mediated technology, and then facilitates something that is new in terms of providing services. Okay, interesting. So let's move on to what are the challenges of definition? Well, it's always challenging, when we want to define uh, uh, what social media actually means. Social media, of course, they are interactive Web 2.0 internet-based applications. We know that very well. And then user-generated content. We have text posts, we have comments. We know that very well too. There are digital photos or videos that you can generate and you can post. And then you can interact online, and then you can use specific services for profiles for websites, and that is maintained by social media organizations. Okay, so I've explained that, and then you know very well that you can create, you can share, you can modify. Yeah. So and then we can also trace many things in terms of quality, in terms of reach, frequency of it, how you interact, how you use it, immediacy, and permanence. Okay, so there are many different um, platforms nowadays, and these are just some of those. I'm sure you guys know a lot more. The famous ones nowadays are TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and of course WeChat, and the older ones. But there's some others like Pinterest as well, right? WhatsApp, Telegram nowadays is quite popular. Then we have Instagram, Wiki, Line, Snapchat, and so on and so forth. So there are many emerging trends, right? 80% of the users already follow a brand on the network, so many users on the internet nowadays. Once they use internet, they're definitely on a social media platform. It's just which ones, right? So most people tend to use social media if they are an internet user. So these are, of course, things that we know, and you can see Instagram stories, more than 250 million users per day, Snapchat as well, and then through emerging media, that more AI or AR face filters have actually grown in popularity over the years. So yeah, this is where surveillance, and sometimes people talk about privacy concerns. Okay, so next up, let's look at social media and social linguistics. What are the differences? We know what social linguistics actually means. So we focus on the message, so we focus on the communication and the practices, and then the technology in terms of the medium and the social context that it's used, right? So these three aspects of the new media actually show up repeatedly in the literature, along with many others like collaboration, digitalization, as well as telecommunication, right? And of course, I repeat, these are the three things. What are the three? So they are message, focus on the message, in this case, communication, the practices, and the technology, in this case, the medium and the social context that it is used. Yeah. So social linguistics, study of how languages serves, is shaped by social nature of the human beings. Okay. Moving on to the next one. So we need to think about social linguistic perspective of social media. So that's what we are more concerned about. And we need to talk about the variables that decide, okay, the social linguistics of the new media. In this case, the new media are related to certain variables that determine the statistics of the digital society. Okay, so I pointed this out. So technological variables, situational variables, and linguistic variables. Okay, so linguistic in terms of meaning, utterances, interaction, social function. That's what we're more concerned about. But some people may look at situational variables like participants, what are the demographics, the setting, the purpose, the topic, and so on. And of course, those who are involved or interested in IT, then they may be looking at the messaging, the channels of communication, the text, the audio, video, and automatic filtering, etc. So when we look at the social networks and language, then in other words, it's how we interact, how we contact, linguistic contact in that sense, right? Through social and geographical space, linking many individuals. Okay, and this theory was introduced to social linguistics from sociology, of course, and that's why we bring both sociology to social network, and that's why we bring it to social media now. And we are talking about how innovations are spread through society. Yeah, for example, how fashion, spread, or how new forms of technology actually spread through social network. Of course, social networks are defined by who you are, where you live, who you have dinner with, and so on and so forth, right? So we want to study all of these, social interactions within the community and how linguistic changes happen, sometimes quite fast, right? In the way within the certain groups, like just now, the last session we mentioned age and gender factors, right? So there are other factors as well, right? So and this, for example, how prestigious your jobs are, and that determines the social network and the social circle. Yeah. So and this may have an impact on social media as well. And do you identify yourself as part of a social network? Yeah. So and how do you do it? Right? Who are your best friends? And name all the people that you communicate with. So these are probably your social networks. And of course, social media, we talk about unusual spellings. Yeah, so spellings is speedily changing. We know that it's happened a lot. So what we need to think is how far and how much we're affected by social media. So our use of spelling, use of language actually is impacted by our use of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. So wonder about it. Yeah. So what are the reasons for these changes in the spelling, right? Which terms are used and what are good practices and what are not so good practices, right? And how far have they become socially acceptable, in other words, right? How are they sometimes encouraged and so on. Okay, so when we look at this, let's ponder, is grammar going extinct? If we are talking about shortened text speak nowadays, right? That has become a trend, not only in Malaysia, but globally, right? And is social media at the center of the grammatical error debates? Some people talk about it. Okay, so anyway, we just look at some of the changes that we have right here in terms of lingo. They call it net lingo, right? Acronyms, abbreviation, or neologism, right? So we have a LOL, as we know very well, laughing out loud, and there are a lot more. Be right back, yeah. And people talk about bye bye, right? So there are so many different types. I don't know. Thank God it's Friday. TGI app, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm sure all of you know this very well. It's how all these have influences, right? Like what's like viral, things have gone viral, and how are they influenced, and how are they influencing other things? So we have new meanings of common words as well, apart from all of these, like status, wall, page, profiles. What do all these mean, right? So they mean different things now. And then we have trending words, as I mentioned earlier, and we have hashtags and B2B traffic, etc. So these are all social aspects as well as practical aspects of these changes in the way we use language on social media. So there are lots of changes. We need to think about the changes in terms of English language usage as well, right? So, and the question of how and why English is used and influenced by social media. A grammar in terms of syntax, vocabulary, morphology, and so on and so forth. Of course, you can go deeper into all of this if you're interested in exploring further. Okay, so the next one we look at the impact. Of course, as I mentioned, what can you share, what can you not share, and there are certain words that are only understood by certain people, and so on and so forth, right? So use of language and social media in Malaysia, well, includes a lot of this, right? Different kinds of code switching, code mixing, and being used rampantly, use of abbreviations, acronyms, etc. So based on this lesson today, so please respond to the forum task on EDL platform as usual. I hope you've enjoyed the lesson today on social media and social linguistics. Thank you very much. See you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.